Hi everyone and welcome to a Replica Airguns video. My name is Michael K. and this is the third part in my series of lower cost Cybergun BB pistols. I started out with the Cybergun SP 2022 and I'll put a link in here for you right now. And then I did the SIG Arms GSR, and now we're finishing off with the Cybergun Jericho 941. Now I purchased this gun from myself, the Replica Airgun store. The Jericho 941 is a non-blowback metal and polymer designed gun. It uses 12 gram CO2 cartridges. It shoots 4.5mm steel BBs. It has a 22 round full-size dropout metal magazine that holds the BBs and the CO2. It weighs just a hair under 2 pounds. It's double action only and has a claimed feet per second of 443 FPS. Now it's a fairly accurate copy of the real steel IWI Jericho 941. Now IWI stands for Israel Weapon Industries, as you can see here on the actual frame. This gun is made by KWC and distributed by Cybergun. It's also made in Taiwan. The Cybergun Jericho 941 comes in this lovely box here, and you can see it's quite nice. We'll take a look at some of the specifications as listed on the box really quickly here. You can see here the velocity, 443 FPS, power range of up to about 88 yards, 80 meters. It holds 22 BBs, weighs 1.98 pounds, is approximately 8.07 inches long, and again, claimed on the box is this Baxis hop-up system. And I've mentioned that before. I'm not 100% sure that the 4.5mm BB versions have this or not. I guess that's something that Cybergun is going to have to sort out. Now the 6mm versions of these guns generally do have the Baxis systems. Let's take a look inside the box. Comes with this manual here. Fairly simple, basic operation. Everything you need to know inside of here. You also get your metal BBs. Quickly show you inside. About 100 BBs in here, and they're these zinc alloy BBs, which is nice. I prefer the zinc alloy BBs. And again, you get your tools for tightening the CO2, Allen key, and this is a loading, or quick loader I should say, and this just helps you to load BBs into the magazine. I found that loading the BBs in these magazines is fairly easy since they already have a fairly large opening in the top and the spring isn't really that tight. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the left side of the gun. Now we have a metal slide on this particular product. We also have a metal trigger. Now the parts that are plastic are the safety here, which is ambidextrous. This slide catch, which doesn't really do anything, although it is a separate part that they've added to the gun. It's not molded into the actual frame, but it is non-functioning. There's a plastic hammer, and this hammer just moves with the trigger. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't allow you to do single action or anything. We have a magazine release here for the magazine, and that is plastic as well. Again, the frame is polymer. The grips are plastic. You'll also notice that we have the branding here of the licensing, Jericho 941 and Israeli Weapon Industries. There's also the IWI stamped onto the handle. And if you can see this here, we have the caliber, BB, caliber 4.5mm. Let's take a look at the right side of the gun. Again, we have the IWI stamped into the actual handle. There's some warning instructions here, and I like that it's just black. It's not white, so it doesn't jump out at you. We also have KWC along with Made in Taiwan and the serial number right in this location here. Again, your ambidextrous safety. We also have a nice extractor here, which is molded into the metal frame, but it looks realistic. Adds to the realism. And we have our cutout ejection port. Inside of this ejection port is an actual metal barrel, and that probably adds a bit to the weight. Now it looks to me like they've added a decal, some people call it a decal, and they've put it over top of the metal here because it does look a little shinier than the front of the gun, the barrel that you can see in the front of the gun, so they may have added some sort of sticker or decal here. On the top of this gun you can see we have our sights. Now there's no white dot in the front, just a basic black sight. On the back we do have the white dots, which is nice. The sights are non-adjustable, unfortunately. Again, the hammer is plastic. It's really just a sprung hammer. It doesn't do anything for the gun. it just gives you the look of the action working. You cannot shoot this gun in single action mode. It's only a double action gun. Again, the open ejection port here. Now on the bottom of the gun, of course, we have our magazine. We're going to pop that out quickly. It's all metal, which is very nice. Take a quick look at it. And of course, this is where you put your BBs in here. Just hold that down, load your BBs in the top. CO2 goes in the bottom. You use your Allen key to unscrew this, and your CO2 goes in here. So it's complete. You can also order extra magazines, which makes shooting this gun a lot of fun. You don't have to slow down to reload. That's pretty much it for the bottom. There's no accessory rail on this particular gun. Still a very nice looking gun. I like the actual smoothness of it. It's very modern looking. Now in the front of this gun you can see we have a recessed barrel, so it's got the wide opening, more of about a 9mm or 40 caliber opening, and inside of there we have the real barrel. It looks to be a brass smoothbore barrel. And as always, I like to try and do some sort of a comparison. The product that I'm reviewing, what we're looking at here is the Jericho 941, which is also called the Baby Desert Eagle, because it's considered a smaller, more compact version of the actual Desert Eagle here. And you can see that there's definitely a similarity in the design, or at least how they look, especially if you're looking at the trigger guards, the way that the back end of the gun kind of goes up similarly. Now of course these are radically different guns, but they do share some commonalities in the way they look. So at this point we're going to head outside now, and we're going to do the shooting portion of the test, where I'll be testing this gun on the chronograph and along with an accuracy test from 20 feet out. So let's head outside now and see how well this gun performs. So we're all set up. I've got my Cybergun Jericho 941 here, and we're ready to do the chronographed portion of this review. I'm going to shoot 8 rounds through the chronograph and find out what the real world feet per second rating is. Now this gun has a claimed manufacturer's feet per second of 443. So let's get started and see how well we do. 497, 495, 492, 490, 486, 484.9, almost 45. This gun is staying very consistently high. Shot 7, 475, dropping a little bit, but still well above the manufacturer's claim feet per second. And last shot, here we go. 481. Well, this gun did really well in the chronograph portion of this test. It's fairly loud. You can tell it's letting out a lot of CO2 with each shot. We'll have to see how well this gun does as far as shots per CO2 goes. Okay, so let's head over to the shooting portion of this test and see how well we do with an 8-shot grouping on a target from 20 feet out. Alright, so moving on to the shooting portion of this test with the Cybergun Jericho 941. I'm 20 feet out in a freestanding position, and I'm going to unleash 8 rounds into this target with my double action trigger, and we're going to see how well we do. Now this is double action only, no single action, and it's a bit of a medium to hard trigger pull, so we'll see how that affects the shooting portion of this test. Here we go. Two more. One more. And let's check it out. Well, that's not bad at all. Now this gun shot a little bit high. I would imagine if we're shooting targets further out, it might drop a little bit and get back on target, but from 20 feet out, it shot approximately 3 inches high. But the grouping is really quite nice. This is about 1.5 inch grouping. Fairly well centered. Just a little bit to the left, but I do shoot to the left often. Could be me. Anyways, let's head on inside and finish up this review. Well, I have to say I'm really impressed with the feet per second performance that this gun had. When I shot this gun through my chronograph, it started out shooting very hard and very fast. Now if you're looking for a quiet BB gun, the Jericho 941 is definitely not quiet, especially on a medium to full CO2 cartridge. But the upside is you get excellent feet per second performance. And right out of the gate I was shooting somewhere between 480 and 490 feet per second when I conducted my 8-shot test. Now the rest of the time that I was shooting the Jericho 941, it felt like it was shooting very strong and very consistently. I would say it only started to taper off on the 5th and final magazine. And so that brings up the point, how many shots did I get out of the Jericho 941? Well, I got 4 excellent magazines worth, so that's 22 times 4, so that's 88 shots. And then I'd say your 5th magazine, that's going to be touch and go depending on how fast you shoot the gun and your ambient temperature that you're shooting in. Now you can see here, when I did my accuracy testing on the Jericho 941, I got a nice little group here. And this grouping is approximately just over 2 inches. And this represents the 8 initial shots where I got about a 1.5 inch grouping. And then I also put 2 more magazines, so another 44 rounds into this target. And here's the grouping I got. Now it did like to shoot high. And my actual clamp was here, and I put several rounds into the clamp, right into the bottom of the clamp. You can see where it cut off here. So my clamp is a little bit worse for wear. But this gives you an idea that this gun is actually fairly accurate, and I really wish that this gun had some sort of sight adjustment because I felt that it shot really quite high, at least for me it did. Now that's not a big deal. A lot of times with guns they'll tend to shoot a little high or low. At least it's not shooting left or right too much. So you'll be able to adjust your sight point just a little bit lower than you normally do, and this gun should perform very well. So let's finish up this review now and talk a little bit about some of the pros and the cons for the Cybergun Jericho 941. Well, first of all, the Jericho has a nice overall good weight of about 2 pounds, feels very well made. I'm sure the metal slide, metal barrel, and full-size dropout metal magazine all contribute to the overall weight of this gun. And again, I love the fact that Cybergun went with a full-size dropout metal magazine that holds the BBs and the CO2. That's always really nice. Now the Jericho 941 is a very nice replica of the real steel Jericho 941, including all the licensing and trademarks. I was really blown away with the velocity or feet per second performance of the Jericho 941. It shot really close to the 500 feet per second range, which is actually well above the manufacturer's specification of 443. I didn't even get close to that, at least in my 8-shot chronograph test that I performed. And even though this gun shoots fairly hard with a high velocity, I was still easily able to get 80 shots out of it, and you may even get 100 shots out of yours. Now even though the Jericho 941 shot a little bit high, it was still really accurate. And lastly, and again, as with the other 2 Cybergun products I've reviewed lately, the Jericho 941 is not going to set you back too much in your pocketbook. It's very well priced. So a couple things that I would like to change if I could. This is a non-blowback gun, and again I've said this a few times now with the series of guns I've been reviewing. That's not a big deal, but it's always nice if the slide moves. So if you can at least pull the slide back, have it lock in position, and snap it forward, it just adds to the realism. Now the hammer on the Jericho does function to some degree, but it's just for looks again, and it doesn't allow you any type of single action shooting. Now this gun shot really nice, and it just would have been so much better if there was some adjustments on the sight just to get it a little bit more zeroed in on the center of the target. And lastly, I found the trigger pull on the Jericho 941 to be a little on the heavy side. Now it wasn't terrible, but at the end of shooting 100 rounds you can definitely feel it in your finger. Alright, so that wraps up this review of the KWC Cybergun Jericho 941. I'm kind of sitting on the fence as to which of these 3 Cybergun products I like best. I think it's really going to come down to personal preference for each individual person. Now again, all of these guns are available in my Replica Airgun store at replicaairguns.com, so come on down and check out the online store. And while you're there, you can take a look around at some of the other products we have, other air guns, blank guns, and accessories. I also have a lot of reviews and articles on various products for you to take a look at the Replica Airguns website, so have a look around while you're there. Thanks again for watching a Replica Airguns video. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe before you leave. And as always, I will be doing more reviews, so come on back to my YouTube channel for some more video reviews. Take care.